Welcome to the show, Kris Davies. A lot's happened since we last spoke, and you've now or are about to become an author in our wonderful collection, Perfect Health Stories Volume 1, Perfect Health True Life Stories Volume 1. So we're here to talk about your particular chapter, and the title of it is Fibromyalgia, Reflections of My Own Fears. So without giving away the crown jewels and telling everybody word for word what's in it, what's the general gist, Kris?
The general gist is that, exactly as the title suggests, is that fibromyalgia, the way it served me was keeping me small, keeping me hidden. And so everything was fear-based, absolutely fear-based. And fear-based that I had built on through coping mechanisms since I was a child. And including past lives and various other things along the way. So it was facing my fears and understanding what that meant. And for me, it was, at that particular time, was appearing as fibromyalgia in order to keep me away from what my mind believed would cause me a bigger pain if I'd actually gone through with them.
So fibromyalgia, we hear a lot about fibro these days. Fibromyalgia and ME seem to be used interchangeably with a lot of people that I speak to. And there seems to be some sort of patterns that go through the types of people who have these conditions. And very often I find that they're people who get these conditions are very kind, helpful, kind-hearted people who put everybody else first and themselves last.
Yes, it's interesting, isn't it, how ME, fibro, lupus is another one. It is, I think, as with many things, I think with health, it is obviously a reflection of what's going on for you at that time. And yes, for people that want to help others, it's, I think, facing what you want to help others with is generally what's going on for you. And as well, the other thing is that we forget to put ourselves first, and we can help others and forget ourselves, and it's draining. And because that's the way, well, I don't know about you, but the way I was brought up was you worked and you worked and you worked and you were measured by your work. And when you live like that, something is bound to eventually stop you, whatever it is. And when you keep putting everybody else first and you work first, something's bound to give. So it's all about a balance of giving and receiving, especially as therapists and healers. Anyone that is a service-based business, it is very easy to put everybody else first, and don't. What's that going to look like? And the ego can take over, and your upbringing, and so many other things besides. So it's delving in deep and understanding what that really means to you. Why is that happening to me? And when I understood what the message it was giving to me, that was when the penny dropped, really, and I was able to do different things to heal myself and start putting myself first. And a lot of people can regard that as being selfish, but it isn't at all, because if you can't give your best to other people, then you're not helping anyone at the end of the day.
Exactly. I often hear the phrase "self-care is not selfish."
That's right. That's right. Well, exactly. You know, and if you're not in on top, if you're not in peak performance yourself, or even working on that, how are you supposed to help other people? You've got to be an example, and also what you're doing is just giving yourself an injustice and those closest to you.
So your chapter then is about how you went from having fibromyalgia, the realization that there were certain things that you needed to do to kind of move forward, and what has been the benefit. I mean, I can physically see. I mean, this will go out on the radio as well, so obviously listeners can't see how fantastic you look. You look absolutely glowing, really, really amazing. So clearly you've done some things that have been, you know, really helpful for you. So in your chapter, do you tell us that the kind of things that you've done?
Yes, I do. And I explain the stages that I went through in order to free myself completely of fibromyalgia, and also how that then shaped my future. And since we spoke last, I've really concentrated as well on healthy living as well. So even though that was a big part, wasn't for me the key part at the time, but it's a massive part, as in what goes in your mouth, what on your skin, and your mind, body, soul, and skin, I say. So it's everything in balance. So yes, I've committed myself every day. I commit myself to meditating and various spiritual practices, which I've devoted myself to far more since we spoke to last, and tapping into my intuition, which was a clear indicator of how this all started in the first place. I've sort of now realized that that's what was happening in the first place when I literally sat down that first day and asked for help. And whatever you want to call it, it was the universe answered, and I started to get the answers. But now I dedicate to myself to that every day, but also massively healthy eating, and so on. So, and suddenly everything has come into alignment, and it's all working wonderfully well.
Brilliant. You look like, I've just been thinking who you remind me of, and it's you, but your younger sister. You look like your younger sister. I don't know if you've got one, but
no, I haven't.
Well, you have now. You're your own younger sister.
Thank you.
Fabulous. So I look forward to reading the. Well, I've read it actually, but I look forward to other people reading the chapter. And I know your other co-authors. There are 12 of us in the book, and everybody has a really interesting story to tell. Obviously, briefly, because we can only give a chapter to each person. So look forward to the book coming out in September. So it's all very exciting. So thank you, Kris, for sharing with us. You've not given away any crown jewels, but you've given away, a few sort of insights. And as I say, it's really, really amazing to see the difference in you. So let's hope that other people will be inspired by reading your chapter, and the same universal support, whatever, will come to them as well. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Kris Davies.
Thank you.